a discussion on the evolution of building economics. Building as an economic activity. What is it that makes architecture, which is otherwise so much centered around design, building, construction, and structures, into an economic activity? A complete understanding of this is important from the perspective of using architecture as a profession. Before we go into this understanding, there is a very pertinent question which we must answer for ourselves and our understanding of economics. Is every activity an economic activity? Economic activity is the activity of making, providing, purchasing or selling goods or services. वैसा कोई भी कार्य जिससे कि हम अपनी सोसाइटी में कंजम्पशन और प्रोडक्शन को जन्म देते हैं, वो इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी है. कोई भी ऐसी चीज़ जिसको कि हम मॉनेटरी कन्वर्जन तक लेकर के आते हैं और कोई भी ऐसी सर्विसेज जिसके लिए हम पैसा चार्ज करते हैं या मॉनेटरी चार्जेस लेते हैं, इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी है. यानी कि इकोनॉमिक्स हमारे सोशल सिस्टम्स की एक नींव है. हमारी सोसाइटी इकोनॉमिक्स के थ्रू फंक्शन करती है. सोसाइटी को इकोनॉमिक्स के थ्रू देखने में समझ में आता है कि कौन से लोग, कौन से गुट, कौन से सभ्यताएं किस तरीके की इकोनॉमिक चेन में थी. इट इज़ द रूल ऑफ इंटरडिपेंडेंस. लोग अक्सर ही कहते हैं कि अब तो तुम सिर्फ पैसे की सोचते हो, लेकिन इसमें पैसे की सोचना नहीं है. इसमें अपने कार्य से अपना जीवन अर्जित करने की जो एक्टिविटी है, एक इंडिविजुअल की तरफ से और एक सोसाइटी की तरफ से जो नेटवर्क है, ये दोनों ही इकोनॉमिक्स है. व्हाट इज अ नॉन इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी? जैसे कि प्रेयर, मेडिटेशन या कोई ऐसा कार्य जो कि अपने दोस्त के लिए किया गया हो, अपने परिवार के लिए किया गया हो या अपने लिए किया गया हो, जिसमें कि कोई प्रोडक्शन भी हो रहा हो, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन भी हो रहा हो, लेकिन वो सब अपने तक सीमित हो, जिसमें कि मैं अपने आप को पेमेंट ना कर रहा हूं, वो अपने आप को या अपनों को, वो एक्टिविटी एक नॉन इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी है. अब ये जो इकोनॉमिक्स है, ये काम कैसे करती है? कुछ होता है तो उसको खरीदा जाता है, पैदावार होती है तो उसको खरीदा जाता है. जो आदमी खरीदता है वो किसी और चीज़ का प्रोड्यूसर होता है. तो इकोनॉमिक्स की इस लंबी चेन में जहां हर परचेजर प्रोड्यूसर भी है गुड्स या सर्विसेज का, जो उसको कंट्रोल करने वाले इंडिसेस हैं वो है सप्लाई और डिमांड. जिस चीज की डिमांड होती है वही चीज मार्केट में चाहिए होती है. तो अपने प्रोफेशन को उस डिमांड के लेवल पे ले करके जाना या अपनी प्रैक्टिस को उस डिमांड पे ले करके जाना जहां पे कि हमारा मांगा हुआ प्राइस, द फी दैट वी वांट टू चार्ज फॉर डिजाइन, हमें मिले, इज अ very important aspect of the practice of architecture. डिमांड और सप्लाई के इस इक्विलिब्रियम से प्राइस डिटर्मिनेशन भी होता है और प्राइस डिटर्मिनेशन से डिमांड और सप्लाई को कंट्रोल में भी रखा जाता है. नाउ व्हाई इज एवरी बिल्डिंग कंस्ट्रक्शन एक्टिविटी नॉट एन इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी एंड व्हाट इज द पॉइंट when it becomes an economic activity? Every piece of house or every building that is built is not built under a chain. Building becomes an economic activity when the services are traded, when labor, material, and suppliers, contractors, architects, and government licenses are used, then it becomes a network. A building does not entirely belong to the owner. It is the effort of the laborer, it is the hard work of the material supplier, the contractor works, the architect works, he designs, and everybody is exchanging revenue against services for which the owner is paying. Let me explain this to you with the example of a house built in wilderness, जंगल में बनाया हुआ एक घर जिसमें कि वहीं की मिट्टी, वहीं की डंडियां, वहीं के बांस, वहीं की बल्लियां, पेड़ों के तने, टहनियां इस्तेमाल होती हैं और एक परिवार मिल करके अपने लिए घर बनाता है, जैसे कि कोई खेत के किनारे किसान अपनी मड़ई बनाता है। वो एक इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी नहीं है, क्योंकि ना तो उसमें ट्रेडिंग हुई, ना उसमें कोई कॉमर्स है, ना उससे किसी को कोई फायदा है सिवाय जो उस घर में रह रहा है, और जो रह रहा है वही उसको बना रहा है। Now from here evolves the definition of vernacular and also the emergence of a perspective, an economic perspective on vernacular. There are two things that make vernacular. One is the material that is used and the other that is the process adopted. In case if you make a mud house in the city, अगर तुम मिस्त्री और लेबर लगा करके शहर में मिट्टी का एक घर बनाओ, तो क्या वो वर्नाक्युलर हुआ? नहीं, वो वर्नाक्युलर स्टाइल है. It is merely an architectural styling, but in the true sense it is not vernacular, because vernacular is not just of the material but is also the process that is adopted in making a certain set of houses or buildings. It is something where the person who is benefiting is making a house as per his or her own dimensions. A person who wants to live knows the size of his body, the spaces needed by him in the house, and henceforth carves out spaces as per his own needs, and that is what is vernacular. Vernacular as an architectural activity is definitely a part of economics. It is an economic activity. But when the same building is made in the village by a villager, by sourcing and stocking the material through seasons, and then by adding his own understanding, then it is not an economic activity. शहरों में वर्नाक्युलर आर्किटेक्चरल स्टाइल से बना हुआ घर शायद 6 महीने में बन जाए, 3 महीने में बन जाए, 1 साल में बन जाए, लेकिन एक्चुअली वर्नाक्युलर आर्किटेक्चर जब प्रैक्टिस होता है, जब वर्नाक्युलर बिल्डिंग्स बनती हैं, तो कई साल तो किसान अपना सामान इकट्ठा करता रहता है. कई मौसम तो वो जो है थैच और डंडियाँ और मिट्टी और ईंटें इकट्ठा करता रहता है, और फिर करीबन 2, 3, 4 सालों में वो अपना घर बना पाता है. द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज इकोनॉमिक एंड लो कॉस्ट. इकोनॉमिक्स का मतलब कम खर्च नहीं होता है. इकोनॉमिक्स इज ऑलवेज डिफाइंड बाय अ बजट. Low cost means low budget and hence easy solutions or appropriate solutions or solutions with materials that belong to a place. Good building economics does not necessarily mean low cost building. It means a construction which falls within the desired periphery of a planned budget. There is bad economics and good economics. and there is sluggish economies and fast economies. A low budget can adopt low cost material procurement or better design and basic specifications to become a low cost project. So, while differentiating between economic and low cost, we must understand a few more terms like economic sustainability, economic growth, economic prosperity, economic stability, and economic welfare as it pertains to architecture. Now let's see the birth of economics in building. Building becomes an economic activity with the involvement of the architect who gets paid to understand the requirements of the person for whom he is building or the requirement of the people who are going to use a space or the government compliances. He designs and he supervises. So, in the economic chain of building, he at the top of the hierarchy is present throughout the process of construction. Then comes the builder who collects labor and material and puts the dream together. He has licenses to operate in a particular way and has the money to support the process of construction. Then comes the material supplier and the labor contractor. The material supplier has the government permissions to query, to process, to supply material. He has the permissions to query up to a limit and henceforth protect the environment also. And the labor contractor protects his teams, protects the people whom he has hired through the emergencies and the contingencies of construction. The lowest in the chain of building economics is the laborer, the person who earns daily wages. But in the definition of economics, every person is a laborer. Intellectual labor, semi-skilled labor, skilled labor, and an unskilled labor. So being an architect in economics is being at the top of the pyramid, but being an intellectual labor. The government taxation is also based on such ideologies. You will, at this junction, try to imagine how a different government type and a different ideology of government can change the nature of building economics. Now, with the kind of government that we are in, we have development authorities and municipal corporations and licensing authorities as the representatives of the government in the building process. Now, what makes a project successful? The first aspect of the project is the conceptualization of the project. Then it is the management of the conceptualization, and then it is the safeguards that are adopted in the process to protect it from failures. The architect could be a part of the conceptualization team and also the project management team and also the person in charge of the project progress. It depends upon the capability of the architect. Generally, what happens is that an architect is made as a part of the project management team. Why? Because an architect has not yet been able to develop and understand what a business manager has always understood about the economics of projects. It is extremely important for an architect to reach the stage where he is involved with the project at the project development stage, where the economics is discussed prior to the design, where parameters are discussed. I will give you an example that more than often in a multi-storied housing complex or in a commercial complex, a team of managers is hired to work on every important aspect of the building, to work out the clientele, to work out the parameters in which the buildings have to be developed, and an architect is given a brief. A very clear brief is given from these business managers who actually control the outline of the project. The architect is only a person who is putting lines to dreams, whereas the role of an architect with his skill set could be a lot more than what is understood. To expand our profession, we must try to think like good managers and also as a person or as a professional who can safeguard the project from failures. It is through this that an architect's involvement in the project could be there for a longer period of time, and henceforth the inevitable increase in revenues of the profession. There are so many aspects of a project which make it successful. Something that is a plan, something that is a look and feel, is always understood by architects through their design acumen. But then, to the sheer physicality of the plan is the intangibility of the time planning, the rigor of work scheduling, the understanding of resource and henceforth resource planning, and a managerial control of the project. So, a chief architect or a chief planner or a chief manager of the project is to be somebody who understands all these aspects. An architect is the most capable person for this position. Why does an architect always not take up this position? Is it because we are weak in adopting an economic understanding of our projects? Is it because that we fall short just because of the introduction of design intensive studies in our curriculum and really hesitate to work on project viabilities? We must learn building economics more proficiently. Project work can be broken down for good economics and good management to smaller levels. This success of the project is actually the economic success of the project. Good demand, good design, good sales, good life, and henceforth the project can be broken down into planning and defining the activities involved, their duration, and their cost. An architect needs to understand the earned value of a project. Now, half of the time ऐसा ही सुनने को मिलता है कि आर्किटेक्ट ने ऐसी बिल्डिंग डिज़ाइन कर दी कि सारे पैसे उसमें ही खर्च हो गए, अब मेरे पास खाने पीने के लिए पैसे नहीं, and so on so forth. A client generally complains. He says the output is immense, but the expense was also many folds. So an architect needs to understand the earned value of a project. Earned value management is actually a project management tool. It's a technique wherein the project performance, the budget, and the time in progression is kept in mind. So, while designing, while writing specifications, while detailing the project, this earned value has to be kept in mind. On the face of it, every drawing is the same. On the face of it, every specification written down by an architect is only a language. But when you convert it into a project, then you realize what has been done. So, for successful building economics, when we talk about project management, we have to talk about CPM and PERT. CPM is a, the critical path method for a project, which takes in the which decides the critical path with all the activities, all the time durations, dependencies, and deliverables included. So while CPM focuses more on the duration of time, PERT is a complete project management or project evaluation and review technique. It is a tool which keeps an eye on the costing and the time to move within the identified objectives or subsets of a project. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that for successful building economics, at the end of an architect, for the duration that he is in charge of a project, from conceptualization to design to commissioning, he must be aware on his designed board, on his drafting board, on his desk about the project process, and he should become the master of the complete act of building construction and commissioning rather than MBAs with limited knowledge interfering in his project scheduling. I am not an anti-MBA person, but all that I am trying to say is that an architect's awareness on economics has to be higher. An architect must understand the resource economics as much as a contractor does. He must understand material, manpower, equipment. He must be better than an engineer with specifications and budgeting. It is only then that he can completely monitor the design delivery from his drafting board up to the actual commissioning of the project. At the end of this lecture, where we have understood the birth of building economics and the role of the architect in the building economics, where the building is conceived, the resources are planned, the work is distributed, the building is managed, and the building is commissioned. An architect has to assume through his capability the position of the chief controller, and that in today's day on any building project can happen through a total control, through total awareness. Thank you.